Hey, very often I hear the same question from people who are just starting to join open source or thinking about joining open source. They ask me, what's the right strategy? What's the right project to start from? And what's the right strategy? What's the good place to start contributing? How to pick up the project and how to make yourself useful for that project? So what's the first step? And I can share my own story, how I started open source. That was, I don't know, more than 10 years ago, and I was writing in PHP at that time mostly. And there was a quite popular framework, Zend framework, for PHP, for web development. And I was using that framework, and I decided to contribute a little bit because it didn't have the features I needed. And I actually tried to join the community of PHP developers. I sent an email to them and asked how I can start contributing, what can I do. They sent me the long license which I had to sign to confirm that my code is going to be owned by this community. And then I signed all of that. They didn't have GitHub at that time, so I sent my changes in a patch file. They had Jira or something like that. They were reviewing my patch, and that was quite difficult to make sure it gets confirmed, because before the patch they also asked me to submit the proposal in a wiki page, explain my changes. So that was a long story, and I didn't enjoy it at all, because I quickly realized that in order to do what I need to have, in order to get what I need to have from this framework, I had to go through a long step of these confirmations, and in the end I had to convince people of things which basically I needed, but not all of them understood the necessity of these things. Anyway, long story short, I didn't like it. Maybe the code is still there, maybe my code is still in this framework, but I didn't like the process. Now I understand that there are basically 4 strategies which you can follow, 4 procedures, 4 tactics which you can follow if you want to be in open source, and how you can get there. The first one is joining a large project and becoming a contributor, just like I did, just like my example. You will have a lot of frustration, you will be rejected in most cases, your pull requests will be on review for months, and maybe, if you're lucky, you will become a contributor to a large project in maybe a few years of struggling with their rules, with their teams. And as many people say, these open source guys, open source architects, they're very stubborn and very, big ego guys. So they are the owners of very large products and very popular products. And of course, they like their products, and they will treat you like somebody who is not welcome there. So that's the first strategy, and I would actually not recommend going that way. The second strategy is, when you see something interesting, you can, and if you want something new on top of that, let's say you use the product, you used some framework, and you want to make this framework better, and you feel like this is this is a good opportunity to actually make a contribution, you can, and some people do that, you can make a fork out of this big, large code base and then release your own version. Some licenses allow that, or maybe you just don't care about the licensing. So you just take their code, you make some changes here and there and say, this is now my product. This is the product which is similar to that framework, but better. Some people do that. Again, I don't recommend that, because nobody will be interested in using your stuff, because you are, completely diverging from their direction, and you are forking. So you are introducing something which most probably you will not support in a few years. So you will not have a fellowship. You will not find users for your product. So forking and diverging from the main trajectory of their project is not a good strategy. The strategy number 3 is that you don't touch large open source products, you don't become contributors, and you don't fork them and make copies of them, but you create your own products. That's what some people do. So they don't go to large communities, they just start their own small frameworks, libraries, whatever, and they hope to become big. It's good, actually. I was doing that for years. It may work, but that will take a lot of time, because before you deliver something which hundreds of people or thousands of people will use, you will have to spend a lot of time, and that time will be spent you will be alone. for quite a long time. Nobody will see your stuff, nobody know your stuff. So you have to be prepared for a long trip of frustration, a long trip of isolation from the community. You can do that. But I can suggest you the strategy number 4, which seems to be more effective for me, which I would suggest to use if you're the beginner, if you're just starting your career in open source. I would suggest creating extensions, modules, plugins for large products. You take a large framework, you see that they miss some feature, you don't contribute to them, but you create your own plugin, your own extension, your own sub-library, which their users can use together with their product. And you release it, and you have a chance to become popular. So you don't conflict with the community, you don't convince them that your stuff is good, you just look at what they're doing, you learn from them, you understand their rules, you understand their principles, and you create your own piece, which is pluggable into their large community. In this case, you have a chance to be known, to be visible, without the fights you inevitably have to go through if you try to get into the community. So make some extensions for large frameworks. That, I think, will give you a chance to quickly become visible, to quickly become needed by the community. And at the same time, the path to this success will be quite painless. Thanks for listening. Try it. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.